Welcome back. So our confetti layer is dry or close enough to dry that we're comfortable writing on it. I'm going to use colored pencils for this layer. You could also use your fine liners. I prefer colored pencil because I want to write somewhat illegibly and somewhat privately on this layer. It's not about precision, it's not about readability for a later time, and it's not about readability for anybody else. It's really about just getting some of my feelings and ideas out at this moment in time. And what I want to see later on is not so much specific words and texts, but just kind of the atmosphere and the evidence of writing as a kind of mark making. I'm going to work with a prompt, and you do not have to work with this prompt. You can write about anything you want to write about. You could doodle if you do not feel like writing about anything. Those are both perfectly fine variations on this idea. But if you want a prompt, I'm going to be working with the prompt of a love letter. So this could be a love letter to your kids, to your parents, to your significant other, to your future self, to your past self, to your friends, to the world. Make it whatever you want it to be. I'm going to write a love letter to my building, and that might seem a little emotionally unengaged or a little weird, but my feelings about my building that my studio is in are actually pretty strong, pretty deep, and I've really missed being able to come to my workspace, I think in a more profound way than I realized at the outset of that separation. So I am going to write a quick love letter to my building using colored pencils on this layer, and I will show you briefly how I would go about doing that. If I run out of room, I like to make use of this rather old-fashioned fun trick and just flip my paper and continue my writing in this direction. Again, legibility is not really the point so much as getting the ideas and the emotions out and onto some external surface. So now you see that I have this very active, energized, colorful surface. And if you feel really motivated, maybe you could pick out some words or some ideas, but it's really not about that. The words form a kind of atmosphere, a kind of textured surface, a kind of visual static in the background. And I like the jagged energy of these kinds of marks. You do not have to write on this prompt, but it's there for you if you want to. You could write on an idea of your own choosing. You could make marks that have no semantic content or meaning. You could make marks that are meaningful to you. Any of those options are totally fine. The key thing is that I want it to be something where you're just really flowing, really unedited, not thinking and not stopping and starting and evaluating what you're doing as you're doing it. Just really do the kind of mark making that gets you into the moment and holds you in that moment until the surface is covered. Once you have a covered surface, you're ready to move on to the next step. And this part is really fun and exciting. I'll see you there.